What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Once again, another comparison. You guys already know I bought the Samsung Galaxy Fold and I have to do these comparisons, dude. And one of the most popular requests that I've seen, and after a little bit of research, I realized that a lot of people for some reason wanted to see the Samsung Galaxy Fold and see how it compares to the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. And what I can tell you is both of these phones are very similar in a lot of ways, but obviously the Galaxy Fold is not only more expensive, but way more of a flex factor. Like if you pulled out a Note 10 Plus and you pulled out a Samsung Galaxy Fold, you're probably going to get more people giving you attention if you pull out a Galaxy Fold over a Note 10 Plus. But that totally depends on a lot of other things too. But what I can tell you is that with the Galaxy Fold, after using it for a couple days, in my opinion, there's really not too much of a use behind it right now. I would imagine. I just feel like it's a super fragile device, and I'm just kind of afraid to use it or take it about without a case on it or a screw protector or whatever, versus a Note 10 Plus, which if I pulled it out or if I was using it even without a case or whatever, I wouldn't feel necessarily super scared of using it, because if I get dust in it or whatever the case, it's not that really that big of a deal. But with the Galaxy Fold, there is kind of a little bit of hesitance to use. It's kind of like using like a 2016 or through 2019 one of those 15-inch MacBook keyboards. It's like, you know it's gonna fail at some point, but you just don't know when. And like with the Galaxy Fold, I kind of get that vibe with it too, but I don't know. Now on the front of the Galaxy Fold, we have a 4.6-inch Super AMOLED display. That one is 720p, but I'm not going to be comparing that screen to this screen. I'm going to be comparing the unfolded display, which is 7.3 inches, and that one is a dynamic AMOLED display. That one is 1536 by 2152, and it's a good panel, but it's a POLED or plastic OLED display, whatever it is, because it has to bend up and down or side to side. And it definitely takes a little bit of hindrance in terms of the quality of the screen. It doesn't really look that good in my opinion compared to the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus's display. That one is a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display. That one is 1440p by 3040, and that panel is actually really good in my opinion. That one has 498 pixels per inch, where the Galaxy Fold has 362 pixels per inch. So in my opinion, in both of them, I do think the Galaxy Fold overall has a good panel, but it's just not quite up to par as the Galaxy Note 10 Plus is in my opinion. Of course, you have kind of no bezel on the Galaxy Fold unfolded except for the camera sensor, but the Note 10 Plus, technically speaking, has way less bezel on it all around. On the bottom, USB Type-C on both. One of the coolest features of the Note 10 Plus is that you do have that S Pen, but another awesome feature of the Note 10 Plus is that you have that micro SD card slot, which is a really cool thing. When you're going and you're using this phone, you have that capability of expanding that storage, whereas on the Galaxy Fold, you do not have a micro SD card slot. You have one model, the 512 gigabyte model, so it kind of sucks a little bit, but it's really not that big of a deal. I'm sure like 512 gigs is enough for you, but I'm still kind of salty that they did that, you know what I mean? In terms of the way they look though, I mean, that's really pretty much it. There's really not too much going on with them. Triple camera setup on the back, pretty much the same camera sensors at the end of the day, and the thinness, the everything, the Galaxy Fold is way thicker. It's definitely an interesting device at the end of the day, but it really just depends what you're going for. Do you want that, type of new technology, the first generation of this type of phone, or do you want to wait a couple models and get another phone eventually? Another interesting thing to note, the Note 10 Plus does have IP68 dust and water resistance, where the Samsung Galaxy Fold does not have any type of certification right now, which is a huge deal, because if you get any type of water or any type of dust in it, it will kind of hinder your, experience with it, especially with that folding mechanism. I've seen people still get dust and stuff stuck in their Galaxy Fold in that folding mechanism, and it still causes problems for them. So whatever the case is, it's definitely a weird thing, but that pretty much covers it up in terms of the outside hardware. In terms of the software in and of itself, you do have Android One UI on both, or Android Pie on both, with Samsung's One UI software, which is nice, and I do like it at the end of the day. But the biggest problem I have with both of these phones is not necessarily the phones themselves, but Samsung. So we just saw the list of supported devices for One UI. The Samsung Galaxy Fold is getting it later on next year, which is kind of stupid. Like by the time it gets it, Android, the next version of Android is going to be coming out like a couple months after that. So I'm not too sure what Samsung is doing in terms of the software. They can easily extend the software support for both of these phones, but the thing that I don't like is that I feel like the Galaxy Fold will probably end up getting the same exact software updates as the Galaxy Note 10 and Note 10 Plus. So basically it's going to get Android 10. Most probably they're both going to get Android 11, and then that's it. You're paying how much for both of these phones? Like the Note 10 Plus is almost like it's like $1,000 phone, probably a little bit more. The Galaxy Fold is $2,000 phone. So that is literally insane that Samsung only supports the software on both of these phones for that short amount of time. Now compare it to of iPhone 8. that's still getting software updates that came out in 2017 that will cost you, I think, like $449 or $500 or whatever the cost is. You can get one in the used market for like $300, $200. That phone will probably stay as long in the software game as the Galaxy Fold and Note 10 Plus, which makes no sense to me. Samsung, if anything, they need to get their stuff together, because if they don't, they're going to get left behind. A lot of people are currently supporting, a lot of people who are like diehard Android fans, even they acknowledge that software support just isn't that good on these devices. And what's even worse is that a phone like the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus could have easily gotten One UI 2, but they didn't. Samsung still hasn't stated whether it's getting it or not, and most probably 99%, it's probably not getting the next version of Android, which is stupid. So in this case, it's more of the same. Samsung could have easily supported both of these phones to even multiple versions of Android, and the fact that they were even hesitant or they took too long to even say the Galaxy Fold was getting it is beyond me. So you guys can say whatever you want to, and I'm totally here for you guys. I totally hear what you guys are saying, but in my opinion, one of the weirdest things about both of these phones is software, but they're probably going to end up staying the same amount of time, so that pretty much covers it up in terms of software. I got heated there, but I'm too emotional about these things. So moving on to the performance side of things, both phones have pretty similar specs in terms of everything. Both phones have Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipsets. Both phones have octa-core CPUs. They have the Adreno 640 GPU, and both phones have 12 gigabytes of RAM as well. And what I can tell you is, in my specific opinion, I think maybe the Note 10 Plus's overall usability and overall performance, I think, is pretty much better than the Samsung Galaxy Folds. And what makes me say that is more so of the screen unfolded. When you're messing with that unfolded display, it is a bigger display, it's a higher resolution, it has a lot more pixels to push. So technically, I would imagine that the Galaxy Fold just isn't, I think this is the best way I can put it. It's probably as fast as the Note 10 Plus, but there seems to be a lot more glitching going on. So when I open something, it's a lot more glitchy, like it's a lot more, just kind of, skipped frames here and there. With the Note 10 Plus, it's way more consistent. I have a consistent experience with it every time, as expected. But with the Galaxy Fold, I just didn't necessarily get that feeling with it. But really, when you're loading things and everything's loaded and you're messing with anything, you're playing games or whatever, it's perfectly fine. Everything is perfectly set. Like, I don't have any problems with anything on both of these phones. In terms of performance, both of these phones are sick. They have really great performance value, and if you're using a Galaxy Fold, I like having that screen real estate of that phone. If I'm playing a game or something like that on the Note 10, Note 10 Plus, whatever, I'm kind of used to that screen to body ratio. I'm used to that, seeing that type of screen, and I don't have a problem with it, but it's just I'm used to it. The Galaxy Fold is something interesting, and at least I can give Samsung some credit for doing something like that. So in terms of performance, they're both probably the same. Maybe the Note 10 Plus is like slightly better, but it's not even worth that much. I wouldn't get either one of these phones, based on their performance. I want the Galaxy Fold because it's better performing. I wouldn't necessarily go there. So that pretty much covers that. I'm gonna hit on the cameras super briefly. They both have pretty much the same exact camera sensors on both of them. Two 12 megapixel sensors, a telephoto lens, and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor on both of these phones. Both phones can shoot 4K at 60 frames per second, all that good stuff. And like I stated, they're both the exact same camera on the back. On the front though, there's kind of like two front cameras on the Galaxy Fold. There's the folded and unfolded. So on the folded, you have a 10 megapixel sensor, but unfolded, you have a 10 megapixel and 8 megapixel sensor. So you have an additional lens on the Galaxy Fold, where in the Note 10 Plus, you only have a 10 megapixel sensor. So take it as you will, but I do kind of like having the extra sensor on the Galaxy Fold. So even if the quality and everything is the same, you have more features and camera sensors on the Galaxy Fold. So technically speaking, the Samsung Galaxy Fold kind of wins there. Now, kind of ending off with the battery life, I'll go ahead and tell you, I think it's kind of interesting because both of these phones have almost the exact same battery. They both have 4300 mAh batteries. The Galaxy Fold is 4380, and they both have reverse wireless charging. Both have, wireless charging and everything. But I think with the Galaxy Fold, you have a bigger display as well as an additional display up top. That definitely takes up a lot of power, and my Galaxy Fold has pretty good battery life. I really haven't had too many complaints, but the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus doesn't necessarily have like 3 screens to power or anything like that, and the overall display is still smaller than the Galaxy Folds, so I would probably give the edge to the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. I do believe that battery is overall better than the Samsung Galaxy Folds. And to kind of end off the whole entire thing, man, The only real reason to get the Samsung Galaxy Fold is basically because you like that design, you like that screen real estate. There's really no other practical reason to pick up a Samsung Galaxy Fold in my opinion. You have the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, you have so many more additional features with it, and it's way more practical in my opinion. I'll give you an example. That micro SD card slot is a really cool, compelling feature. I love that feature a lot. It brings a lot of value to the table, and I'm sure a lot of people use it. Another thing, the micro SD card slot, that is an amazing feature as well. That's literally one of the coolest things ever. I don't know why more phone manufacturers don't do it. They're starting to take away from it, but with the Note 10 Plus, you have that capability with it. You have very little bezel on the Note 10 Plus, and on top of that, it's way more durable than the Galaxy Fold. I'm literally afraid to take the Galaxy Fold anywhere else because I'm afraid I'm going to break it. With the Note 10 Plus, I don't feel like that. I can feel like I can take it anywhere and it's set. Like, it's not going to do anything. No problems are going to be had with it. And that's kind of how I feel. That's kind of where I'm at. If you want to pick up the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, I'll find the cheapest one on Amazon and I'll link it down in the description below. I don't know if Amazon's selling Galaxy Folds. If they are, then I'll link one down in the description as well. If you guys get them from there, you can help support the channel at the same time. But that is pretty much it, guys. If you have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section as well. Hit that like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out, but more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.